There was a man named Arjun Mehta, a 34-year-old marketing executive living in a busy city. From the moment his alarm rang in the morning till the moment he closed his eyes at night, his life was surrounded by noise, notifications, meetings, calls, deadlines, and endless scrolling. He had everything a modern man could want: a good job, a nice apartment, the latest gadgets, but deep inside, something was missing. He often told himself, "I'll slow down one day," yet that day never came. Every morning he woke up already tired of chasing the next thing. Arjun's mornings were never peaceful. The first thing he touched wasn't his wife's hand or his child's cheek, but his phone. Before brushing his teeth, he had already checked his emails, replied to messages, and scrolled through social media. His mind was always occupied. News updates, trending posts, stock prices, and people's lives that looked happier than his. He thought staying connected meant staying important, but in truth, he was slowly losing connection with himself. At work, Arjun was known as the guy who never said no. He handled every project, every client, every late-night task. His boss loved his dedication, but his family barely saw him. His little daughter, Mira, had started drawing pictures of the family, and in every drawing, her dad was holding a phone. That hurt his wife, Ria, who often said gently, "Arjun, you're here, but you're not really here." He would smile, nod, and promise to change, but the next morning, the cycle repeated. One evening, while driving home, Arjun stopped at a red light and checked his phone again. A notification popped up. "Your screen time this week, 11 hours per day." He frowned, sighed, and locked the screen. For a moment, he looked around. People crossing the road, a child laughing, a couple holding hands. Everyone seemed present in the moment, except him. But the light turned green, and his thoughts went back to the emails waiting for him. Silence never lasted long in his world. Days turned into weeks, and the noise in his life only grew louder. His company was preparing for a huge campaign, and Arjun was leading it. He worked late nights, skipped family dinners, and even missed Mira's school play. When Ria sent him a picture of her daughter holding her little trophy, he smiled for a second, but then went back to his laptop. Success, he told himself, needed sacrifice. But in chasing the world, he was losing his own little world at home. One night, it all caught up. Arjun was working late again, his laptop screen glowing in the dark room. Suddenly, his vision blurred. The room began spinning, his chest tightened, and his breathing became shallow. He panicked. Ria rushed him to the hospital. The doctor said it wasn't a heart attack, but it was a serious panic episode caused by extreme stress and exhaustion. "Your body is shouting what your mind has been ignoring," the doctor said softly. Those words echoed in Arjun's mind like a wake-up call. The next morning, Arjun sat quietly by the hospital window. For the first time in years, he wasn't rushing anywhere. There were no phones, no meetings, no background noise, just the soft sound of wind and the distant chirping of birds. It felt strange, but peaceful. He realized he couldn't remember the last time he had sat in silence. He closed his eyes and thought, when did life become so loud? When did every minute need to be filled with something? After being discharged, Arjun decided to take a few days off. At home, Mira ran into his arms shouting, "Papa, you're finally home!" Her joy made his heart heavy with guilt. That night, instead of scrolling through his phone, he sat beside her bed as she fell asleep. He watched her breathe softly and thought, this is what peace feels like. That silence, that simplicity. It felt more rewarding than any office achievement. The next morning, Arjun did something he hadn't done in years. He left his phone at home and went for a walk in the nearby park. The air was crisp, birds were chirping, and sunlight filtered through the trees. At first, his hands twitched, out of habit, searching for his phone, but soon he started noticing things he'd forgotten existed. The smell of wet grass, the laughter of kids playing, the rustling of leaves. The world hadn't changed. He had just been too busy to notice it.
Over the next few weeks, Arjun began making small changes. He created no-phone zones at home during breakfast, dinner, and bedtime. He set limits for social media, turned off unnecessary notifications, and even started journaling. Slowly, the constant buzzing in his head started fading. His mind felt lighter, his conversations deeper. Mira began showing him her drawings again. This time, her father was smiling without a phone in his hand. It was a small picture, but it spoke 1,000 words. But life, as always, tested him. One morning, Arjun's boss called. A big client needed him back full-time. It meant long hours again, constant availability. For a moment, the old Arjun was tempted. That hunger for success whispered, just one more project. But something inside him resisted. He remembered the hospital, the loneliness, and his daughter's smile. He politely declined, saying, "Sir, I'll handle it, but not at the cost of my health and family." It was a bold decision, but it felt right. Ria was surprised when he came home early that evening. "You're home?" she asked. Arjun smiled and said, "Yes, and this time I'm really home." They laughed, cooked dinner together, and shared stories. There was no background TV, no phones on the table, just laughter, warmth, and quiet moments. For the first time, Arjun felt truly rich, not in money, but in peace. He realized how beautiful life sounds when you stop filling it with noise. Months passed, and Arjun's life changed in small, meaningful ways. He started reading again, spent weekends hiking with his family, and found time to help his daughter with homework. His career didn't collapse. In fact, his creativity improved. Silence gave him clarity. He discovered that productivity doesn't come from being constantly busy. It comes from being truly focused and balanced. The quieter his life became, the more alive he felt. One evening, as the sun set outside his balcony, Arjun turned off all the lights and sat in silence. The city still buzzed below, cars honking, people rushing, but inside there was calm. He whispered to himself, "Peace was never missing. I just stopped listening." That night, he wrote a note in his journal. The more noise you remove, the more truth you hear. It became his mantra for life. The story of Arjun is a reflection of many of us today. We live at a time where silence feels uncomfortable, where every gap in the day must be filled with a screen or sound. We scroll, we chase, we compare, and we call it progress. But in the process, we lose touch with the simple moments that make life meaningful. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is pause, breathe, listen. Because silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. So, if your life feels too noisy, take a moment today. Turn off your phone, step outside. Listen to the sound of the wind, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the laughter of someone you love. These are the sounds that remind you you're alive. Don't wait for a breakdown to realize what truly matters, because life doesn't need more volume, it needs more meaning. And remember, the world will always be loud, but peace is a choice. It starts the moment you stop filling your life with noise and start filling it with what truly matters.